Hey, good morning. Um, I just thought I'd make a little video. One of my boys was talking to me. He said, "Dad, I know you love knives." He just gave me a couple more that he bought a while back, and said, "Hey, you should make a video about some of your knives and stuff that you have." So I thought I'd give it a shot. Just spend a few minutes talking about them, and I don't know. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let me just flip this around here. Here's just a few of the knives I've collected over the years. Stuff that some of it I've made, and I'll show you that. I'll just kind of start out right here. Probably about 30 years ago, my dad gave me this nice limited edition Browning folding knife. I love folders. Back in the early 90s, he gave me that. Beautiful stag folder. There's just some other knives that they're not necessarily expensive, just some kind of cheap ones, but my dad gave that to me. Thought it was pretty cool. One that he had gotten from the NRA. And then this particular one means a lot to me. My daughter gave me that one. She brought it back from Europe, picked it up there herself. And that is very cool. I will cherish that. There's a couple of these other knives. These are Gerber Applegate Folders. Applegate Fairbank. I think you can see the name right there. They're combat folders. These models are discontinued. Don't believe you can buy them new anymore. They might have a different version, but these particular ones, it's quite a big knife if you can see it compared to my hand. This particular knife here is an Ed Brandsey custom knife that my dad had made. Beautiful knife. He had that made probably back in the late 80s, maybe. Edward Brandsey, the EB. It might have been the sixth knife that he made for my dad. I'm not sure, but absolute gorgeous quality. Beautiful, beautiful knife. My dad was into buckskinning, so that was one of his buckskinning knives that he would wear with his outfit. This particular knife is a buck knife that my son just gave me the other day, that he had picked it up quite a few years ago, and I told him I'd hang on to it for him. This is just a Gerber knife. It's just a nice folder that my brother gave me. He gave me that one year for Christmas. That's very cool. I carry that in my truck, keep it in there all the time, just in case I need something. This particular knife was one that I think I gave this to my dad. It's a Schrade, and if you look at it real close, you can see the file marks on that, and the fluting is deeper. I did that probably 30 years ago for him. Kind of reshaped the handle, put some beads on it, some wood and glass beads, and anyway, he carried that, I think, hunting with him here and there. It's another one of my dad's little Skinner knives that he probably took on several of his hunting adventures. It's a Japan 440 stainless. Very nice little knife. Cute. Very cool. And right here is a couple of my dad's Browning knives that were his hunting knives. My dad was he was a big hunter and really good at field dressing animals. If it was a Russian boar or a big buck or a moose, whitetail, mule deer, antelope, you name it. Here's a real nice USA made buck that my son had just given me recently too. Very cool. The old big old bucks. Awesome knives. This is just my Gerber Sidekick. This is my everyday carry. I carry it to work. My Leatherman. That's something I have on me every day. This particular SOG knife, a friend of mine gave to me. He gave me a knife, I gave him a knife. Just something to remember my friend Jack by from work. It was really cool. This is a Kershaw Leek, and this one I carry every day to work too. I grab it up when I grab everything in the morning. And then this is kind of my Kershaw Leek copper that I carry like on the weekends usually. I'm a big fan of the Kershaw Leeks, and I'll show you here in a second. And this particular one is a O-Light made by Otacle. This is one of their new G10 scale razor blade knives, which I kind of really cool box cutter. If you wanted to carry just something, it's actually like a multi-tool. It has a screwdriver and then a bottle opener on it, built in. And then up here is my collection of leeks. For some reason, I really like this knife, and I like the different colors. I thought it'd be really cool to collect some. The purple, the blue, light blue seafoam, orange, copper, red with black blade. This is a special edition snap-on. Here's a desert sand and carbon fiber, gray, black wash, stainless, regular black, and this is OD green. I just thought it'd be really cool to have one of each different color. Really like the knife. They're compact. They're all open assist, and I think they'll hold the value pretty good. I don't carry those. I just keep them. I'll pass them on or something to my kids. Over here, these particular goodies here, these knives and different things. First of all, this was my first pocket knife that I got when I was in Cub Scouts. I did a real number on my thumb with it, whittling. This particular Gerber Paul knife, it has a push button on it. My brother bought that at a gun show down here when he was with my dad years ago, and gave that to me. It was a very expensive knife, and I will cherish that. I think it's really cool that he did that for me. Here's a K-bar knife with my Carta on it that I picked up at a gun show back in the early 90s. Another one that my dad had given me with the different fish on it. It's pretty neat. This particular little pocket knife I inherited from my father-in-law. This one here, I believe my kids gave me this little folder. I don't remember where I came up with that Swiss one. Here's another Kershaw Leek. That one my buddy gave me. He had had it for about a week and tried to pry something with it and broke the end of the blade off. I'd hate for him to throw something like that away. And he just said, hey, if you want it, you can have it. And if I see if I can get it open here with one hand, I can unlock it. And what I did was just tantoed the blade on it to make it usable, and it still locks, which is it's usable. So that's pretty cool that I was able to salvage it. There was enough left on it. This particular Gerber here was an assist open, one of my first, and I lost a screw out of it and cracked the little what do they call it, like a glass handle scale, and I never did find it. I got to find another screw for it, but anyway, that was one of my that I used to carry to work all the time years ago. This is a little Boker, my only Boker, little dress knife that I had picked up at a gun show years ago, traded for something, I can't remember. This little guy here, my dad, these were little keychains that my dad used to pick up at like Kmart, and they were real inexpensive, and he'd give them to me and I'd mess around with them. I'd put like different scales on them. This is some wood scales that I made for this one. And then if you notice, I had the file work on it. I did the file, I'd practice file work on the blade. I just thought it was kind of fun to do that. And like I said, it was just an inexpensive knife, but it was pretty cool. Okay, looking at these 4 knives here. A buddy of mine bought a custom handmade folding knife at a gun show, and he brought it into work and showed it to me one time, and I thought, man, that'd be really cool to make something like that. And he said, here, why don't you take it apart and trace the parts so that you know you got the blade dimension and the spring and the catch and all that kind of stuff, and then see if you can make one like it. And so I did, and went home to my shop and started cutting pieces out, got the blade material that I needed, the right stainless steel material, stainless bolsters. This particular walnut wood here came from a tree that was cut down in our backyard back in Wisconsin, where I grew up. My dad had given me a piece of it. So this is a tree from 3520 East Rodeman Road, Janesville, Wisconsin. And I made my first folding knife, which I'm pretty proud of. It was pretty cool. You know, I was learning and how to do it and all that. And so it's not a heavy spring. It's a real light spring, but it works. And so that was pretty neat. So then my dad and I were talking, and I told him I'd like to try making some other pocket knives. So I kind of drew up some different designs. And my dad had, I didn't have a lot of money back then, and he had bought, or we split it, I don't remember, but we bought some ram horn and some nice stag material that I could make some knife handles out of. And so these 2 knives here, and this is one that I think I did a video on this before, but it's kind of a little chunky knife, but I think it really kind of turned out cool for what it is. It turned out pretty. It's a pretty knife, and my dad loved it. It was you know, a custom knife that his son made for him, and I was fortunate enough to get it back when he passed away. And then the other knife is basically identical except for the ram's horn material. And I had made that for a cousin of mine that, one of these days, if I see him again, I'm going to give it to him. I don't remember what the whole deal was. It was several years that I didn't see him, and didn't have it with me when I saw him last time at my dad's memorial, but I'd like to get it to him someday. But that's another one that I made. There's this particular one, it's just okay. I mean, kind of a fat little thing. It was some old cracked stag. It's got a lot of character to it, real weathered material. The knife is too chunky and fat, but you know, some people like, hey, that's cool, I'd carry that, but you know, I'd love to have that. But anyway, I don't think I ever finished this one. The blade needs to be sharpened, and then I can't remember if I heat treated it or not. I'll have to figure that out when I start trying to sharpen it. And then if not, I'll have to send the blade in and have it heat treated. But kind of a unique little shape. Just one of those that I drew up and whittled out in the shop one time years ago. And if I can do this one-handed, this one's got a pretty good spring on it. I started learning how to do springs better. Anyway, and this particular stuff right here, these are some arrowheads that I picked up when I was arrowhead hunting with my dad. I found several. Those were some of the really nice ones that my dad kind of put in a case for me. that I had picked up whole. A lot of times they're broken in the fields because of big heavy machinery and all that kind of stuff. This particular patch means a lot to me. I picked that out when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6, and my mom sewed it on my coat, and when we got rid of the coat, kept the patch, and I've had it for all these years. I remember picking that off the thing of patches, and I just really thought the colors were cool. Definitely 1970s, huh? Very cool. These particular things right here. This is a necklace that my brother made me from an arrowhead. I don't know where he got it. I think it's one that he maybe bought or whatever. But he put that together. Black bear claw necklace that he made. This was Levi Garrett sponsored muzzleloader shoot that in 1983 I took first place in junior competition with my Lyman Great Plains muzzleloader that my dad bought me. Very accurate gun. I love it. Still have it. I've had it since I was like 12. I did this when I was 15 in 83. And then this particular necklace here means a lot to me. I was just a little guy when my dad made this. He took a piece of stag antler and he did a little scrimshawing, as you call it, wrote my name on there, and he scratched that Indian face in there and made that for me, and I will keep that till the day I die. Pretty cool that my dad made me that. He made me several different things over the years. I have another necklace somewhere. I'm not sure where it's at. I think I have it in a box, but anyway, last little thing here on the table to look at is this is from M1 Grand, and it goes with the M1 Grand. So, but I consider it's still a knife or a dagger or whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to include that in my little session here. But anyway, not just anything, just super particular, cool, whatever. But kind of doing this for my kids to see, tell them a little bit about my stuff, so that it means more to them. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Thanks again.